At what point should one divest investment properties before retiring? Should you plan to defray your self-funded super so fast that you eventually access the government pension? I think it's kind of chasing your tail. It's a downward spiral. I think if you've got the capacity to save, you're going to have a lot more flexibility. So, if you can put some strategies in place where there's a younger spouse and you can hold money in the accumulation phase of super in the younger spouse's name and maximise the age pension for the older spouse, do those sorts of things. But I don't think it's worth chasing the thresholds down by spending the money and then realising that, I haven't got enough to live on or to meet my income requirements for the longer term. So no to that question. As a husband with a spouse 2 years younger, are there financial reasons to consider my wife remaining in the work after I retire, or is it just a personal choice? Yeah, if she continues to work, she can earn up to about 75 grand and you still get a part age pension. But, if she's earning over that, about 4 grand a year, then she's going to affect your age pension when you retire. So you just need to balance up those issues. If you both retire, if the income test isn't causing your age pension to reduce and you're holding a lot of your assets in the younger spouse's name, then you could get the maximum age pension for you for that 2-year period. So you need to factor in those questions, Andrew. I presume negative gearing is meaningless when living on super. If you're living on super, the money from your super is generally tax-free, and so therefore negative gearing, the benefit of negative gearing is that you're offsetting taxable income. But if you've got no taxable income, then it's just you're losing money each year, so it doesn't really help. I guess it helps if the property's appreciating in value, or the shares are appreciating in value above the amount that you're paying out each year. But at retirement, I don't think it's a time and a stage to be negatively geared. Without considering too many details, what is a reasonable amount of super to aim for? I think we answered that in some of the projections that we talked through earlier. Are there options for risk versus safety of one's investment after retirement? That is, once you are living on super, are there options for risk versus safety? Yeah, one strategy that here's a link for you, Andrew, if you want to check this out. I don't know whether I've got it on my homepage, but I'll put it on YouTube. I think it's on the homepage of my YouTube channel at the moment. Check out this one. YouTube. So my YouTube channel is Ask Gav. So youtube.com/AskGav. And this is a video here. Now it's probably going to come through and blast our ears out. So I might just stop it. Oh, no, it's not. That's good. Check out the video in a bit more detail, but I'm just going to quickly go to the end of the diagram. The diagram here. So when you ask, is there a prudent way to invest your funds in retirement? A strategy that we often implement is holding between 2 and 5 years of your superannuation balance in cash, and it just buffers you from negative market movements. So you can have, say for example, you're in Christian Super, you're in the balanced option, which is effectively 50 in sort of equity on property, growth type assets, and 50% in defensive type assets. Each year you've got to draw out a 4% of the balance, so $25,000. You can just draw that from the balanced option, but those units go up and down in value. As we can say, this is what this is all about. Check out the video, it goes for about 8 minutes. But what we say is, instead of actually just having it all in the one option, we often say have 90% of it in balanced option, but 10% of it in cash, so that you're drawing the pension from the cash option. If markets are good and this goes up to 95%, then we move some money across to cash. If markets go negative and you have a GFC type scenario, then we just leave it as is and we continue to draw from the cash. If you want to be more conservative, provide a greater buffer, then you provide more years of pension payments in cash. So rather than 10% or 2 years pension payments, you might push it out to 3 or 5 years pension payments in cash. And that just buffers you from the global financial crisis, because it allows you time to then wait for the valuations to go back up again. Check out the video if you want to go into a lot more detail there. It's on that YouTube site and it's called How to Protect Your Allocated Pension from Negative Markets. What are the reasons, if any, to maintain life insurance after retirement? Generally, when people hit retirement, then they're self-fund, or they've funded their retirement, and therefore insurance becomes a little bit more superfluous. Sometimes, and it's costly as well. The older you get, the more costly it gets. So generally, at retirement, it's not required. You could maintain it if you want to, if you need to. Say, for example, even out the estate planning type issue. So say for example, the classic case is a family farm or a property or something that you've got 2 kids, you want to leave one the farm, it's worth $1 million, and you haven't got another $1 million to pay the other sibling to make it even. So people take out life insurance policies of $1 million to pay out the kid that's not going to inherit the farm, and the other kid inherits the $1 million farm. So that's one reason. But generally we say just let it fizzle out at retirement, because it's unnecessary then.